Welcome into the PHNX Sun Devils show, coming to you live from Studio K, presented by Circle K. Head to any Circle K Arizona location where you get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd.
And we are almost at game day, and of course our coverage is brought to you by Coach Stark Homes. Are you in the market for a home? If so, get a hold of Coach Stark today, and he's going to help you out. You can get in touch with him at 623-695-3929, or go to CoachStarkHomes.com, or follow him at Coach Stark Homes. Can I say something?
Say something.
I love how smooth you hit the live from Studio K.
I mean,
like, it's just smooth.
Come on, man.
It's just smooth.
We're locked and loaded, okay?
Oh, buddy.
We got 4 days till kickoff, baby. Sharon in the chat knows exactly what's up. I'm Anthony Totri, joined as always by the one, the only Senor Ruby over here. He's got a long laundry
Mr.
list
Emergency
of nicknames.
Room.
Mr. Emergency Room. We got DJ Coop behind the Mac making all of the magic happen. Do us a solid. Hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, and drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. We got Sharon in the chat. We got Roaring Fork in the chat as well. Say what's up if you're here. Let us know how pumped you are for the Sun Devil season to kick off, Erik, in just 4 days. Today, we're going to be talking a lot about the ASU offense. We heard from offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo. We heard from Arizona State starting quarterback Sam Leavitt.
Right.
So we're going to see what they had to say about ASU's Week 1 season opening matchup against Wyoming in just a bit. We're going to talk a little bit about the offensive matchups that maybe the Sun Devils can exploit in this game. But first and foremost, I just want to talk a little bit about practice today because, of course, the Sun Devils hitting the practice field again for the first time with game week. And we saw some slight tweaks again, as we have seen really throughout the last week or two of fall camp. And I want to get into the left tackle spot
Yeah,
because
that's a big one.
Offensively, the offensive line has appeared to be the most consistent of the groups in terms of starters. For the majority of fall camp, it was Emmett Boley at left tackle. It was Ben Coleman at left guard, Lee Fautaunu at center. Then you had a right guard competition between Sean Na and Cade Briggs. And then at right tackle, you had Mad Max. Now what we've seen is completely different. At left tackle, we've got Josh Atkins. Emmett Boley has moved to right tackle with the twos. At left guard, you still have Ben Coleman. At center, you still have Lee Fautaunu. At right guard, because of the Sean Na injury that Kenny Dillingham explained to the media the other day, you have Cade Briggs at right guard, and then you still have Mad Max at right tackle. So, Erik, for you, what's your level of concern now that there are starting to be a few pieces shuffled across this Arizona State offensive line with, again, just 4 days until kickoff?
Yeah, it's the last part that does have me concerned. I don't know exactly what level it is, but it's not nothing.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not sitting back saying it's no big deal. I remember we talked about this a little bit last week and kind of thought, oh, maybe it's just a scenario thing. Maybe you're just trying something out to make sure that you're kind of set in case something happens.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of it then, and I'm certainly less of a fan now, but I am not going to waver on understanding and believing that there are reasons behind this until I see that it doesn't work. So those two things are coexisting for me at the same time. Not a fan, don't love it, certainly not hitting the panic button, and I'm not losing faith in anything. There has to be a reason for it, even if it's a reason we don't know. That has to be the best unit they think they could put out there. We'll see.
I mean, that's fair. Right.
Well, and that's the thing is offensive line play is so nuanced and you're not really going to be able to see how they perform until they go up and actually play this Wyoming defense.
Yeah.
There has to be a reason. I don't know what it is. I don't believe you know what it is. It's just happened.
Yeah. It really has just happened, and it's been interesting to see that it almost didn't start this way, right? Because Josh Atkins played a couple different colleges, played in the Big 12 with Houston, I guess really before Houston was in the Big 12. And then he played at Hawaii was his last school, and that's where he was actually the starting left tackle for a season for Hawaii. So it's interesting that they didn't plug and play him as a starter early on in fall camp instead of Emmett Boley, who has really been more of a right tackle throughout his career, specifically at Arizona State. He was starting at right tackle last season for the Sun Devils before getting injured. So maybe that's just a testament to Max on that right side. But regardless, it still feels kind of weird to have that shift with a week really.
If it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Yeah. But especially this offense specifically feels like they've been trying to emulate some sort of consistency and some sort of continuity throughout spring and fall. Obviously, the main spearhead of that is at the quarterback position, where despite the competition between Sims and Leavitt, it's not been alternating reps with the ones, really. It's been Leavitt a vast majority of the time getting those reps. Obviously, on the offensive line, until recently, it's been consistent. There was some stuff with the wide receiver room, people going up and down, but you have Cam. Obviously, he's your starting running back, and DeCarlos is your 2. The 3 has been varying in and out, some due to injury. It's just weird to me that there's not like a specific reason, and not necessarily that I would expect them to say or tell us, because if there is, they probably don't want to give that out to Wyoming either. It's probably going to be a simple, that's what we thought was best for the team, and leave it as that. But 4 days or a week before kickoff, shifting up a unit that is absolutely pivotal and crucial to your success and protecting your redshirt freshman quarterback in their not just first game, but their first season. I'm going to stop myself from getting too concerned, because I trust this coaching staff. I trust Saga. Yeah. I trust Kenny. I trust Marcus Arroyo. I trust all of them. There has to be a good, solid reason.
Well, look, our confidence may be a tad shaken with the left tackle and offensive just line in general, kind of shuffling around some pieces. But we did have the opportunity to talk with offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo today, and he did comment on just his confidence and how he feels about the left tackle position and the offensive line. This is what Coach Arroyo had to say.
Good. I think the O-line's done a good job of working through those top 6, 7, 8 guys. I think the left tackle position is going to be one we're going to feel really good about on Saturday night. These guys are going to be rolling in, and Coach Sue's got a great lineup, a great idea for those guys up front. And I really enjoyed the fact that in camp we've rolled a lot of guys through at different spots. I think the position flexibility in the front's huge, and to have a few guys at some depth at that position, I think last year was a major issue. And it's a lot of places like that. Let's be really candid. There's a lot of places that when you're starting it up, you're going to work through the roster development piece, the talent acquisition piece, and we're no different. And I'm just getting here knowing that too. So I've been excited about that top group that's out there right now.
Excited about the top group that's out there right now, which again, reminder, top group that's out there right now features Josh Atkins at left tackle, not Emmett Boley.
Right.
So.
But he also mentions, of course, the depth. And
of course. Sorry, I had to.
Right.
I had to. I'm sorry. I'm
going to give myself another nickname. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. No, it's fine.
Lisp Larry? Is that?
Yeah, something like that. Lisp Larry. Listen, he's going to say and preach competition and preach depth. And I'm not saying it's not what he believes. I'm saying that's what I would expect him to say when making this change.
Yeah.
I'm sure he understands that there is some sort of responsibility that he has to make sure that first group is the best, most prepared unit. And maybe he felt that it was Emmett Boley for a really long time, and then it wasn't, right? It could be as simple as that. And you would rather make the change now instead of making the change mid-game after week 1.
Yeah.
I get that. I am not loving it. I am not hating it. I am merely acknowledging that it is adding a wrinkle to all of this that was not expected. And I hope that when it comes to Saturday, because I'm sure we'll see both. You're not just going to play one guy out there the whole time.
Yeah.
You're going to see both. We will see how that actually turns out. Maybe it's to light a fire under M. Boley's ass. Maybe. It might be. Maybe he doesn't need it. Maybe he does. I don't know.
Yeah.
I genuinely don't know. But Marcus Arroyo is handling it and talking about it in the best way possible. Everybody on this team in every position understands that there is competition and your job's not guaranteed and promised. They've been preaching that since last season, let alone this spring, summer, and fall. So, maybe the guys are mentally prepared, right? Say, hey, you might be moved down to second string.
Yeah.
You might be moved down to third string. You know, you might not play for this game. You might play next game. You need to be prepared for anything. And if there's any coaching staff that will set that groundwork in, I do believe it's this one. So I'm not tripping. I'm watching.
That's fair. That's fair. Short Bus with a couple comments in the chat that I want to get to, starting with I'm late, but it is a change. Is it a change or not risking him coming back from injury game 1? No, this is a change. Emmett Boley's been practicing even going back to the spring now. He missed the entirety of last season after pretty much shattering his leg.
I mean, look at it it's almost going to be coming up on a year.
I mean, about a full year. Yeah. So this doesn't have anything to do with injury. Emmett's been practicing pretty much 100% for a while now. This just has to do with the fact that it appears they wanted to either test something out. They believe Josh is the guy at that position. And again, Jalen Clem's still not with the team as it stands right now. Right. So it'll be interesting to see if he does in fact return at a certain point, if there are any changes made. But again, that is not something that I fully anticipate.
Yeah, and I think one last thing about, is this just protecting him from injury? I think if that was a concern, that you would have seen this type of change or rotation a lot earlier. Yeah. Because if it truly is that, I think they would have valued the continuity and understanding that, hey, we're not going to roll you out there starting week 1. Eventually, we want you to be our starter, but we need to put Atkins in there. We need to have a little bit of a mix-up so that everybody is comfortable. I feel like if it was truly an injury concern, we wouldn't see – it feels almost reactionary of sorts within a week and a half beforehand. So, and Short Bus says, like, they'll all end up playing, like you said, through the rotation. Maybe injury is something. Maybe Emmett has gone to them and said, I'm feeling a little something. I want to make sure this. I want to make sure that. Again, there's so much, and it's to the Clem thing. It's Mason Williams. It's all of that. There's so much behind the scenes that even people who are tapped into the program are not aware of, that you're never going to know. There's context and there's details and there's decisions being made, and we can do our best to tell you what we know and to deduce from certain situations and context. But at the end of the day, you're like, maybe something happened, right? Maybe bad, maybe good. Maybe Atkins just been a hell of a standout player to them, and they just can't deny him anymore. Yeah. You'll see when they play, because if Emmett Boley comes in and just absolutely dominates and they can continue to not start him, then you're opening up a different type of conversation. But until that happens, like there's really not much that we can do about this, despite spending the last 12 minutes talking about it.
No, I think at this point you rock and roll with whoever you got out there, right?
Absolutely.
Like there's not really much else that you can do if you are an ASU fan, and if you're the coaching staff, I think you're pretty comfortable with where you're at. Again, they were getting rotations in practice today, so I think that's all well and fine. I do also want to get to Short Bus's question just a little bit about the playbook, because Arroyo talked a little bit about that too, right? Just asking how much of the playbook do we think they're going to actually open up. So before we get into our estimation of how much we think the playbook is actually going to be opened, Marcus Arroyo did talk a little bit about his philosophy and overall the ASU offensive philosophy going into this first game against Wyoming.
Yeah, I mean, you want to put enough out there you can be efficient and effective and not put your guys, at a disadvantage in regards to a whole new way of offense. I don't believe in that. I don't think that's who we're going to be. I know we're in the infant stages of putting the offense in the first fall, but I think, my philosophy, the fact we go out there and do what we do something the guys can understand, put it in the players' hands, and as far as where the players are getting the balls, how we can scheme it up, and how we coach it. We can't throw a bunch of stuff out that they don't know. I think at the end of the day, go out there and whatever we've got installed that we feel good about, go out there next.
Yeah, I think that's a fair response. This is not a coaching staff that is going to try and hide. I don't think a ton, especially week 1 against a pretty good Wyoming team, a team that you can't really afford to sleep on. This is a game, Marcus Arroyo said it, right? You don't want to throw too much at these offensive players for Arizona State too early on to the season, right? You want to make sure you throw enough at them to still have somewhat of a complex offense, but be able to go out there and execute everything that's being asked of you. And we've seen some things in practice that, again, ASU fans, I think, should be excited about. And then overall, I think this offense in general is going to be really rhythm-based as it relates to Sam Leavitt. If this is a team that is able to get cooking quickly early on in drives, we're talking 1st and 10, getting it to a 2nd and 3, getting it to a 2nd and 4. I think that is really how you're going to be able to tell where this ASU offense is able to go. I would say the first 3 or 4 drives, if this is a team that is 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, then you're in for a long game, because offensively it is all rhythm-based for Sam Leavitt and for Cam Skattebo. This is a team that's going to rely pretty heavily on the ground game. So if you're able to get into those 2nd and short opportunities time and time again, This is an ASU offense that I don't think will have a whole lot of trouble just marching down the field.
No, rhythm base, absolutely. Offensive line, you want them to come out strong so you can at least establish the run with Cam. And, of course, with DeCarlos and Kyson as well. No relief week 1, probably week 2. I think that with any team like this, where you have a first-year offensive coordinator as far as first year with the program, you have a true freshman quarterback, you have lots of moving parts and moving pieces, you have 2 wide receivers that didn't play for all of last season, and then some. You don't want to go out there and just immediately throw everything on the table. And not that they're not talented enough to do that, but for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1 is you don't want to put everything on tape against a Wyoming team that you should beat and you should be better than. 2, Wyoming is a very muck it up type of defense. I don't think you need to get fancy to beat them. I think you actually have to beat them at their own game, because if you try to go against the grain when you're not, a machine like that, like if this was a well-oiled machine who knew their identity, then yeah, go against the grain, make the trick plays, go for a deep shot, all of that. They're not, right? They're still figuring out who they are. And then 3, like there is just certain thing to be said about like, listen, you can't take this team lightly. You can't just go out there and say, hey, we're going to try some things out. We're going to figure this out. And I think that that's almost a lesson learned a little bit in Southern Utah of last year, where I think they took their foot off the gas and they got scared. And of course, there's so many things that happened in that game that hopefully won't happen in this one. But this is not one where you just sit back and you go, you know what? We're up 14-0. Let's just try out.
Let's live with it.
Right? Let's try out. Oh, let's go away from our identity. No, you don't have your identity yet.
Yeah.
You don't have that. So I don't think they're going to open it up all of it, but I think you are going to learn exactly how they're going to run the basics of their offense.
It's going to be, think about it like this. Think about it. How many buttons are my shirt right now?
I was about to say, what the hell are you doing?
No,
I saw you reach for the buttons and scoop closer to me.
I wish this was. I wish this was a shirt that had more buttons on it, because it would be a better analogy here. But if this is,
are you gonna go full unbuttoned on me?
Well, no. Yeah, I'm just gonna take my shirt off.
Don't get me too excited.
So this is fully buttoned.
Yes.
Right. This is where we're at. Week 0. Literally, that's where we're at. Week 1.
Just one button.
Just
down.
one button. One button down.
They're
you don't want to
getting
get
loose.
too fancy with
You're getting loose in the club. We've had a couple of drinks.
It's 8 o'clock. You had, the appetizers there.
You're
and
off
gone.
work.
You had one martini. We've got one button.
Right.
Now, when Big 12 play starts, we've had a couple drinks. It's about 11:30.
Oh my goodness.
Then the buttons are coming down.
Yeah, you're going full.
Oh yeah.
In the wind.
Yeah, the playbooks. We're doing this with the playbook on the table.
Oh my
right?
goodness. You're a special guy.
It's
you're a special guy. Can I do something real quick? This is really bothering me. This K.
It's upside down.
Yeah, it's upside down. You can't do that.
You really are that upset about it?
You gotta respect the K, man. I'm sorry. You have to respect the K. Listen, we're gonna tell you about Circle K. We're gonna do all sorts of different stuff, talking about whatever else Marcus Arroyo had to say. Plus, we're gonna hear from Sam Leavitt in just a second. But first, I want to remind you that our coverage leading up to Game 1 is presented by Coach Stark Homes, of course, led by Coach Stark, Chris Stark, with West USA Realty, high school basketball coach, educator, Sun Devil alum, him and his wife, original Sun Angel members going back to the 70s, ASU season ticket holder, listener to PHNX Sun Devils,
and 3-time champ,
back to back best of the West, 3 years in a row in the 2020s. He's worked with our own Johnny Venerable. He's gone from Buckeye to Maricopa to Tucson just to find you the right home, or to find you the right buyer.
Dude will go anywhere
for your home. He will do whatever it takes to help you, and that is what's beautiful about Coach Stark. So are you in the market for a new home with interest rates the lowest they've been since 2023? If you've been thinking about buying your first home or upgrading what you currently own, right now is the time. If so, get a hold of Coach Stark today, and he's going to help you out. You can get in touch with him at 623-695-3929. Go to CoachStarkHomes.com, or you can follow him on socials at Coach Stark Homes. 3 separate ways to reach him. And if you call Chris and tell him you heard about Coach Stark Homes through this very show, PHNX Sun Devils, and use him for the sale of your current home or purchase of a new home, he will donate $1,200. That's a lot of cheese.
That is a lot of savings.
That's a lot of money of his commission to your closing costs to represent the Devils heading to the Big 12 this season. That's how much he loves this damn team.
I love it.
In this program, he will give you $1,200 because of it. That's $1,200 in savings just for PHNX Sun Devils listeners. And I mentioned you have to respect the K.
Yeah.
I'm sure you stopped at the K this morning.
Dude, I'll be honest, I didn't stop on the way to practice, but I'm going to stop on the way home.
Oh,
I
you have
need
to.
gas and I need some snacks in my tummy, and they have it all over at Circle K. Spicy, salty, savory, hot. cold, lukewarm, medium. They have it all over at Circle K. Not just great snacks, great deals on drinks, and of course, they're helping you save money with Inner Circle. It is a free membership program, super easy to sign up with. And when you sign up, you're going to be saving money every single day. Literally, save 25 cents per gallon on your first 5 fill-ups. And then every day after that, you can fill up and save 3 cents per gallon as well. Not to mention, you're going to get a member-exclusive beverage deal. Inner Circle is going to help you get any size Polar Pop or Froster for just 79 cents now through September 3rd at any Arizona location. And you know there are Circle K locations all over the valley. It feels like there's one almost on every single corner. So you could take advantage of the great deals that they have on gas, on snacks, and so much more. Join Inner Circle for free by downloading that Circle K app today. Terms and conditions apply at participating locations. Visit CircleK.com for details. I'm so ready for football.
4 days.
4 days.
4 days.
And that's just till ASU football.
Right.
We get to watch Colorado in 2 days. We get to watch the Buffs just absolutely fumble the bag
Praying on
against
the downfall.
North Dakota. Should we take a moment? Should we take a moment?
Just
to
everybody,
pray?
but it doesn't have to be a religious thing, okay? All you gotta do is close your eyes,
Eyes closed.
focus on your breathing, and there's a certain thing called manifesting. And what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna manifest the season from hell for the Colorado Buffaloes.
Talk to me.
We don't want injuries,
Yeah.
but we want pure
Failure.
failure.
Yeah.
Shadur, flop. Travis Hunter, flop.
Dion,
Fingers pointed.
flop. Ooh, fingers
Disappointment.
pointed.
No college football playoffs.
Absolutely not.
No Big 12 championship.
Not even 3 wins.
No getting stronger in the trenches. Who gives a shit about your spring game
The
attendance?
Louis luggage is fake.
Yes. And it will be returned. And he'll be gone. That is manifested.
I love it. That was such
Thank
a
you.
peaceful experience for me. I really enjoyed that.
I actually, I think my heart rate went down.
Yeah.
Just
No, that
a
was
little
awesome.
bit. It's
That
been
was
a day.
good stuff,
My
dude.
heart rate's been high.
It's
That
been
was-
a
that
day
was
and it's
much
only 2
needed.
o'clock. It's fair. Look,
Yeah.
let's continue to talk about Arizona State football. Just in terms
Get my heart rate back up.
the ASU offense. Again, the observations from practice. One more before we get too deep into the weeds of the matchups and that type of stuff. But ASU's offense for the last couple of weeks has been at wide receiver. Laquan Stovall, Jordan Tyson, Malik McLean.
Right.
Over the last couple of days, it hasn't been Malik McLean out there. It's been Xavier Guillory instead. Again, not going to put too much into that because you're going to see a healthy rotation
Right.
at that wide receiver spot. But interesting to see Xavier Guillory out there with the ones as opposed to Malik McLean, who overall has had a pretty good fall camp. Not that Xavier Guillory hasn't.
Sure.
But it does feel like for me, Malik McLean has been just a little bit more consistent.
Sure.
But again, you're going to see these guys time and time again. And in reality, the perfect segue here, those wide receivers are going to be the difference for Arizona State on Saturday. Because you look at Wyoming's defense versus ASU's offense. ASU's offense, not a ton of returning talent, at least in terms of star power. Yes, you have Cam Skattebo, but outside of that, Elijah Badger's gone, Jaden Rashad is gone, Jalen Conyers is gone. Some of the offensive linemen are gone. Like, you have new guys that need to step up.
Right.
Versus Wyoming. Wyoming's returning 7 of their 11 defensive starters from last season. And this is a team that won 9 games last year. Now, in terms of where their weakness is, at corner, right? Wyoming returns their safeties. They return their premier linebacker. They return a lot of guys up front on that defensive line. But at corner is really where Arizona State can make Wyoming pay in this game. And I think you're going to see it early and often. I know it's going to be a little bit of a surprise because we do think that, this is going to be a team in Arizona State that thrives on running the football. But it would be tough, absolutely tough, if I'm Marcus Arroyo and I don't see those corners out there with guys like Jordan Tyson, Malik McLean, Xavier Guillory on the edge and be like, you know what the perfect way to start the season and build some confidence for our redshirt freshman quarterback? It's to go out there, protect him, scheme some of these guys open, and just let him toast some of these Wyoming corners.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be immediately. I'm going to be honest. I don't think that they're going to I don't think they're just going to go out and be like, you know what? We're just going to throw the ball. I do think they're going to run the ball first. They're going to get Sam a little bit of just taste of get out there on the field. But I agree that this Wyoming team, you have to. Yeah. You have to attack that weekness.
Have to.
And I think that once you kind of get into your rhythm, they're going to start launching it. And maybe not all the way downfield, but I still think they're going to be launching it. And the thing with X that's interesting and him running with the ones is that his big problem last year was like, you just need to have consistent hands.
Yeah.
And sometimes that comes down to a confidence thing.
It's absolutely a confidence thing.
And getting sometimes it's a skill thing, but a lot of the times it's
but you're not really a Division I wide receiver
if you don't have hands. Yeah, absolutely. So I do think that putting him in the ones, letting him run there. He's had really good moments throughout camp. He's had some really good snags and grabs when he's going to get playing time nonetheless. And so will Malik McLean. I will say I like that move. As much as I'm like, oh, I don't really want, a lot of shakeup. I like that move specifically because that wide receiver room is going to move around a lot. Short bus with a prediction. Play 165-yard touchdown to Tyson Bookett. Just because Ruby said they won't. Guess what?
I'm here for it.
Prove me wrong.
I'm here for it.
Prove me wrong.
I'm absolutely here for it.
Please do that. If I'm wrong and they just bomb it downfield and they start picking apart corners and Sam Leavitt looks good, I want to be wrong so bad.
Maybe you will be.
I hope.
But look, a lot of it is going to depend on Sam Leavitt. So how has he been preparing for, realistically, something that he's been looking forward to his entire life, and that is going out there starting game 1 for a Division I program here at Arizona State? His answer, simply take it day by day.
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, I try not to think about it like that too much. Every time it's just the same. It's the same as spring ball. It's the same as fall camp every single day. You're trying to be the best you can. So I'm trying not to focus on, what's ahead of me. It's just day by day, taking it, and when those nerves come, and, that's why I play this game. So I'm super excited for that. When I run out of the tunnel, I worry about that then. But, right now, just getting better.
You can't get too ahead of yourself if you're in his position.
I mean, you can.
No. So I meant
Dylan Raiola does it.
Not literally. Not literally, you can't do it. Yes, you absolutely. But if you are wanting to be in a position to succeed as a redshirt freshman at a new school, new offense around you, everything like that, once you start kind of tallying all those things up and how am I going to respond to this, how am I going to respond to that, it's almost like doubting yourself.
Yeah.
And if there's one thing we know about Sam Leavitt is that he is as hell not doubting himself.
He's a confident guy.
And I know that you picked that up to him, talking to him today and hearing from him times before. I like that mentality. I want my quarterback to be prepared for everything, but I don't want them to be obsessing over how they're going to react. I want them to think, what would happen in this situation? Address it, move on.
Yeah.
And I think that that's especially important for a quarterback in his position.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And another thing to keep in mind that Leavitt and both Arroyo and Leavitt were talking a lot about today is the new rules on helmet communication, right? And being able to have that in there just as long as you get to the line prior to the communication cutting off at the 22nd of the play clock. So it's going to be beneficial to have Arroyo just kind of walking through the offensive reads, right, any sorts of audibles or checks ahead of, not just a drive, I guess, but plays specifically, being able to have an offensive coordinator who's been around the block for a while, being able to help a younger quarterback in his first game. Yes, that's going to be something huge down the line throughout the season, but especially here in game 1, I think that's going to be a massive part of this. And if I'm Sam Leavitt, you have to step into a leadership role. You have to step into and fully embrace the fact that you are the guy now. But it's not going to just be him, right? Sam Leavitt can only take this team so far. Cam Skattebo, Jordan Tyson, Lee Fautanu, they're all going to have to respond to this moment. And we heard from Sam Leavitt at the end of practice today just on how the team is dealing with that. A new season, year 2 of Kenny Dillingham, week 1, just 4 days away. So how is the team responding to that moment? Well, this is Sam's answer.
Yeah, I don't know. It's pretty exciting. I mean, I don't even know what our team's capable of yet, but I see it in practice, and I know what we can do. Once we get out there, it's going to be a different story, and I'm really excited to see how people respond. And that's one of the main things we talk about with Coach Dillingham is just response. And our team's done such a good job of that since spring ball till now, in every aspect of life. So I'm just really excited to get out there.
It's really important for him to lead, especially at his age.
Yeah.
In his position. I mean, you're looking at a roster here at Arizona State where there are a lot of players who've been around college football for a good amount of time. Even those who haven't played recently have still been around this, and they're older. I think it was Ralph who mentioned that there were some current ASU players who were recruited to play college football when Sam was in middle school.
They were already playing college football.
That in itself means you have to carry yourself a certain way to garner some respect. And I think Sam does that. And, you're getting put in a position where like you are kind of the thing that makes this team go from to
Yeah.
And that's
a great Scooby-Doo impression.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Roro.
That's what we're saying. Never mind. I'm just going to keep it to myself.
I know what you're going to say. So we're just going to move on from that.
Yeah, I don't want to get too deep into the weeds of it, right? So look, Sam Leavitt, yes, he's going to have to go out there and have a big game. And I know we talk a lot about Wyoming, and we have talked a lot about Wyoming just over the last few weeks leading up to this game as being a team that you don't really want to see week one. You don't really want to sleep on this team. But I think in all honesty, this is the perfect matchup for Arizona State heading into year 2 of Kenny Dillingham, because yes, you're still trying to establish this culture, but this is a team in Wyoming that likes to beat up its opponents, that likes to, like Ralph said the other day, drag you to the deep end and see if you can swim for 4 quarters with a defensive line that, again, is returning some key players from last year, 7 starters on that Wyoming defense as a whole coming back and playing against Arizona State. And then offensively, a team that's returning 4 of its starting offensive linemen, and they're just going to run the football, right? So defensively, you have to contain the run and force them to throw the football. And then if you're ASU's offense, this is perfect. Your offensive line is going to get tested early and often in this game. Why not do it week 1? See if your left tackle can hold up. See if your right tackle is the man for the job. See if Lee Fautonu can still be the glue that holds this offensive line together. Let Cam ease into this one, right?
Sure.
You got a ton of running backs. You got a lot of depth. You're going to see Kyson Brown. You're going to see DeCarlos Brooks. You're going to see Alton McCaskill. I don't know how many teams across the nation that you could point to that could say, you know what, you might see 4 running backs, maybe 5 at some point this season, even when they're all healthy, just because they have that ability. And then, of course, getting back to Sam Leavitt, being able to get him comfortable. Right. We saw that even in spring ball where like this kid is really hot and cold. But when he's hot, he's a dangerous, dangerous quarterback because he's athletic. He's got a big arm. He can fit the ball into tight windows when he is on. So you go up against a Wyoming team that, yes, is physical, but they're weak outside at that corner spot. Let him tear him up.
Give him the
confidence. If I'm Arroyo, I'm giving him a long leash.
Sure.
Go tear him up.
You cannot.
I'm not talking about pulling him. I'm talking about a long leash.
As in like what you're going to allow him to do.
I'm like, even if you throw an interception, even if you have, a bad couple drives in a row, like I've got confidence that you're my guy and I've seen what you can do when you get hot. Yeah. We want to get you hot now. Sure. There is nothing better than coming out week 1, establishing a level of physicality like Wyoming is going to do. So Arizona State's going to have to do that. And then also, yes, you've got your guy in Cam Skattebo. The nation knows you can run the football. But guess what? Let's open an entire barrel of monkeys and let's go throw the shit out of the football. Let's have Jordan Tyson go deep. Let's have Troy O'Meara get in the game. Let's have Jake Smith show the nation what he's all about. Let these wideouts and the quarterback build a rhythm, not just for week 1, not just for week 2, but this sets yourself up for a season of fun.
The more I think about it, the more I think this is the perfect week 1 opponent.
Yeah.
Because they're just good enough that there's absolutely no chance in hell that you are going to not take them seriously.
Correct.
They absolutely could beat you. I mean, Arizona State should win this game without a doubt in my mind, but they absolutely could win. Wyoming could. It is not out of the realm of possibility. It's a lot more likely than playing a team like a Troy, shots fired again, or a Southern Utah, shots fired again. It's a lot more likely than if you're playing a team like Wyoming. And like, if you missed the episode that we had with Ralph yesterday, he explained so many different reasons why that's the case. And you want to give Sam a long leash. I think saving Cam for when you need him the most, which is going to be when you hit Big 12 play after the season he had last year, where he was so worn down, I think that's a massive part of it as well. I think all the things that you said kind of play a factor. And also, listen, confidence and momentum are such a big thing. And there's a lot more confidence and momentum from playing a hard-fought game and winning, and even winning convincingly, than, hey, we just beat Troy.
Yeah.
3rd time's the charm.
It's Tuesday. It's Tuesday.
You know what? I'm going to say him at least 10 times over this week.
At least 10 times?
Because that's what you need out of
The
game
Troy
week.
counter?
Yeah, the Troy counter.
It's tough.
But listen, I think things are lining up to where if this team can execute in the proper way, shout out to Cliff Kingsbury, then they are going to be in a really good spot to get some momentum.
Yeah, that's fair.
And Sharon says, no way Cam wants to wait until Big 12 play. I am not saying you wait to use Cam. You're going to give him the most touches. You're still going to run the ball. I'm just talking about like against teams where you can give Sam more of a leash and you don't need to just solely rely on your go-to best punch every time. Maybe like 3 or 4 possessions a game. Just save Cam's legs.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to want to keep Cam fresh for the whole season.
Sure.
And you have the ability to do that. Now, again, we'll see how the season and these games start to kind of play themselves out.
Mm-hmm.
If things go the way that, ASU fans would hope, then maybe there's a world where you don't see Scat until the second or third drive of the game.
Right.
Maybe you don't see him for a quarter, right? Because that's going to keep him fresh when you get to the end of the season, when you get to Big 12 play. And if everything goes according to ASU's plan, you're going to hopefully be playing for bowl eligibility, maybe,
Sure.
in a dream scenario, Big 12 title game, right? Again, dream scenario. I'm not saying it's going to happen, but if things go the way that this coaching staff and these players would like, then a lot of it's going to rely on Cam Skattebo and him being able to be healthy out there and fresh for the entire season. Look, we're going to continue talking about ASU's offensive weapons against that Wyoming defense. We're going to hear again from offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo. But first, I want to tell you a little bit about our friends over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Erik,
Yes.
are you ready for Thursday?
Oh, I'm born ready.
Do you know what Thursday is?
Oh, I know what Thursday is. Do you know what Thursday is?
I know what Thursday is.
Tell me what Thursday
Kyle,
is.
do you know what Thursday is?
Draft day.
It's draft day, baby.
Draft day.
It is draft day. We are having our PHNX fantasy football draft over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. It is going to be a ton of fun. Shout out Gila for hosting that. There's going to be an entire production behind this whole
And I'll be behind that, baby.
It is going to be a lot of fun. So maybe you're going to tune into the live stream. Maybe you're going to come out to Gila just because you want to be there for the fun, whether that be for the fantasy draft or maybe to go make some money over at Gila River Resorts and
that sounds
Casinos.
fun.
Nobody does it better than Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Not to mention, they have themselves 4 separate locations that you could go to. Go win some cheddar. That's the best way to bring in the football season. Go all in with over 4,500 slots and live table games, or catch all the action at any of their sports books with an unprecedented level of entertainment and excitement that you're not going to find anywhere else in the desert. They haven't just set a high bar, Erik. They have set the
bar.
highest bar. So belly on up and let us show you what next level is all about over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Again, they're going to be hosting events there all year long, not just our fantasy draft, but Cards and Sons watch parties and so much more. So stay tuned for info on how you can go hang out with those PHNX Cardinals, PHNX Suns crew over at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. And something to keep in mind for always is you do you at Gila River Resorts and Casinos. Visit playatgila.com for more details.
Listen,
I'm listening.
tailgate season, right? It's back.
She's back.
College football, NFL. There's a couple keys to a good tailgate. You need a good grill. You need some good entertainment. You need good people. And you need to have a way to keep all of your things that need to stay cold, ice cold. And the best way you could do that is with Rugged Road. You know who doesn't have Rugged Road? The people who attend Troy University, okay? Because they're just simply not good enough for something this innovative, for adventurers who demand the best. It's got floatability, right? So let's say you're not tailgating. Let's say you're out at a pool, and for some reason you're like, I need to pass my Rugged Road across the pool so I can give a drink to my friend. Floats, upright, all the time. Lightweight design, durable, dependable, versatile. Versatile?
Versatile?
All the same. You can say that word different ways. You can use Rugged Road in as many different ways as you want. It is crafted to handle the toughest environments. And by far the best part about all of this, it will keep your contents cool for a minimum of 7 days.
That's a lot of days.
But often longer. I could put something, I could buy a drink from Circle K, some ice, put it in a Rugged Road right here. And at 2/17 next month, in a week, it's September next month.
Wow. He did one of those.
And one of those. I can come here and it'll still be cold. That is insane.
You know what Outlast said, right? What's cooler than cool?
Ice cold.
You know what's cooler than ice cold?
Rugged Road.
There we go.
There we go. Listen, and if you want Rugged Road for a little bit cheaper, we got you. Get ready for your summer adventures with Rugged Road coolers. Head to ruggedroadoutdoors.com. Use code PHNX for 10% off your order. Lightweight, durable, always floating upright, perfect on land or in water. So leave that old heavy cooler at home. Get yourself a better cooler for the new season. Rugged Road, your ultimate outdoor companion. What's that? We 4 now? 4 Troy mentions? Or we 5?
Is that 5 now?
5. I know. See, I think we're talking
4. I think 4.
I think it has to come like it can't just be like, hey, we're talking about Troy mentions.
Hey, Troy.
So we're at 4. Okay.
Does Troy O'Meary mention?
No. Listen, you got to earn.
I'm so glad you knew where I was going with the Rugged Road thing. By the way,
yeah, we're just connected.
That really made me happy. We got Glenn in the chat, Sharon, Will, guys. Again, do us a solid. Hit that like button. Hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review wherever you get your podcast. Also, make sure you're subscribed to PHNX Sports. Head to gophnx.com today. Click a little Die Hard tab, and it's going to tell you everything that you unlock when you become a PHNX diehard, and there is no better time to become a diehard than right now because the season's here.
It is.
Season's greetings.
Yes, right.
Ladies and gentlemen, football season, college football is back. And that diehard Discord is popping, and you can only get access to that when you are a PHNX diehard. Not to mention, you're going to get discounts on merch, on events. Go ahead. This is the Erik Ruby special. This is the Ruby special.
I do love the
Ruby
shirt.
special when it comes to
shirt.
the PHNX locker. You're going to get exclusive diehard only content and so much more. Again, go phnx.com today. Click the little diehard tab. It's going to tell you everything that you unlock when you become a PHNX diehard. Look, we're going to continue talking about ASU's offense versus that Wyoming defense, but I do also just want to remind everybody that we will have a post-game show following ASU's Week 1 season opener against Wyoming. Obviously, we're all going to be active on social media. We'll be at the game, but just want to make sure everybody that's in the chat now, everybody listening on audio, make sure you are there for the post-game show immediately after that ASU game. It is going to be a ton of fun.
Okay, you know what else that means, though? We got to let the people know. No show on Friday.
No show on Friday.
Because we do 5 shows a week. So, you better be there on Saturday night, okay?
Look them in the eyes.
You and me, you listening right now, listen. This is special. We made it through the offseason, through drafts, through quarterback controversy, through everything.
We're here. Quarterback controversy?
Not really, but kind of. You know what I mean. Don't step on this.
Sorry.
Game 1's going to be a special time. We're going to hopefully be celebrating an ASU win, but worst case scenario, the only way to get through it is with us. And we will be here for you. You could be here for us. Let's have a hell of a start of the season.
That's fair. That's fair. All right. Getting back to ASU versus Wyoming.
Sure.
We've obviously talked a lot about what to expect from this Wyoming defense. But let's go ahead. Let's take a listen into what Arizona State offensive coordinator Marcus Arroyo had to say really about the Wyoming DNA.
Well, I mean, historically, first of all, I've worked there before. So I know what that place is all about. A real tough, hard-working, blue-collar operation has been for a really long time, and I think it's really in their DNA of how they play. It's been like that for a long time since they've been coached there. Coach Bull has kept it rolling and done an amazing job. And now he's gone, and now Jay's there to take over. And I don't see much of a change in regards to the DNA of that football program. A tough, blue-collar group that's going to be right where they're going to be. They're not going to beat themselves. They're going to play tough brand of football, and that's what I was there when I was there, and that's what they continue to be. So we've got a tough task.
Listen, Wyoming now, a year ago, a year from now, everything like that, whoever's coaching it, whoever's playing, they clearly have an identity. They are not the same type of program, but you can almost give it to the likes of a Utah.
Yeah.
Where obviously there's consistency.
They're poor
there with
man
the head
Utah.
coach. But you know exactly what you're going to get out of Wyoming. And that's what we said throughout this entire show and through yesterday's show. You are a better team than them, but you sure as hell not act like it, man.
Yeah.
Because this is the type of team that will take advantage of that. It's in their DNA. It's who they are. They are the type of team to come in and upset you.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you're on the road, even if they're playing in the 100-degree heat, they are here to take you out of your element. They are here to make you play their game, and they are here to have you sleep on them so they can come in and kick your ass.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Again, you look at this Wyoming team, not only is it a team built on identity over one individual player, but if you want to talk about individual players, like we've been saying throughout the show, they're bringing back 7 of them. They're bringing back both of their starting safeties from last year, Isaac White, Wyatt Eckler, 2 guys that both had over 60 tackles last season, a number of breakups. This is a safety unit that, again, is going to be one of the best in that specific conference. And then overall, you talk about the defensive line. Ralph was talking a little bit about their defensive tackle, Jordan Bertagnoli, who I'm sorry if I butchered your name.
As a name guy, oof,
I know, big name guy. But to have nearly 60 total tackles as a interior defensive lineman is pretty ridiculous. And he's not the only one. Sebastian Harsh, he's back on that defensive line. And he's not too far off what Jordan did last year, a guy that had 50 total tackles last season. So it's going to be a real challenge often. But again, kind of something that we've been harping on, regardless of the talent on the real back end in the safety room, regardless of the talent that Wyoming has, both at linebacker and in the interior, that defensive line, there's going to be room to pick this team apart.
Sure.
And for me, I'm going old fashioned, right? If this is a team in Wyoming that knows that their bread and butter defensively is going to thrive on loading the box because of their interior defensive linemen, because they've got good safeties, my immediate goal, if I'm Marcus Arroyo and Kenny Dillingham, is, okay, let's get these guys off the field.
Sure.
Because something that they have, yes, is returning talent, but they don't have a lot of depth at Wyoming. So let's get these interior defensive linemen running horizontally. So how do you get them running horizontally? Well, you run some easy screens on the edge to your wide receivers, to your Jake Smiths, to your Jordan Tysons, and you get those big, beefy guys tired early.
Sure.
You get that second unit in, or you get these, big defensive tackles just winded, then, hey, that's when I'm going to hand it to Scat, and I'm going to let him beat you up for a quarter. Then I'm going to go let DeCarlos Brooks beat you up for a quarter. And then when you have to come help out those interior defensive linemen because they're tired, and then you got to start playing man coverage, then that's when Jordan Tyson's going off. That's when Melquan Stovall is going to get open. That's the game plan to beating this team, especially a team that has returning talent. Yes, they understand the identity. Yes, they understand the scheme, but that doesn't mean they don't get tired. And that's how you're going to beat them.
Yeah, and that's also a really great way to get your confidence up with Sam Leavitt.
Exactly.
You get some short completions, you move the chains, you get the offense rolling down the field, and then once you get, a little bit deeper in, you give the ball to Scat, and you give it to Kaisi, you give it to DeCarlos, and you let them cook as well. You share the love all around. And I just think that, again, I think this is the perfect opponent. You should win. If you do things the right way, you will win. But listen, Cam's going to get tested on that interior defensive line, man. He's going to get tested.
Yeah.
These running backs are going to get tested.
Big, beefy guys.
Sam's going to be under pressure. But it's hopefully going to be one of those games where maybe through 2 or 3 quarters, it's a little bit closer than you would imagine. And then as the heat wears in, as the depth becomes to be a problem for Wyoming, and you continue to play in that way where you're wearing them out and you're relying on your depth, then the win should come. I don't want to say easy. I don't think any win is going to come easy for this team this year, but I think it should come easier.
Yeah, much easier than last year.
Oh.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Let's get things real. And again, I don't think you can mention, you can't not talk about the Wyoming, or you can't talk about the Wyoming defense and not bring up their star linebacker. I'm going to butcher this dude's last name, but it's Shea Suianoa.
You nailed it.
Dude had 93 total tackles last season, 2.5 sacks. He's just really an all over the place linebacker who, again, returns for Wyoming. So this is a team in Wyoming that's got defensive pieces, but again, there's not a lot of depth. Ralph said it on the show the other day. Why should ASU fans be excited about this game? Why should they be confident? You have a better team.
Sure.
They just have to go out there, prove that with the right game plan, the right coaching staff, and the Sun Devils will be able to get it done. But that's ASU's offense versus the Wyoming defense. Little teaser, we're going to swap sides tomorrow. We're going to be talking about that ASU defense, the strong point of this Sun Devil team going up against that Wyoming offense. Had an interesting conversation with an ASU defensive player at the tail end of practice. I'm going to save that for tomorrow's show. So definitely be sure you are tapped in tomorrow, 1:30. Going to be a lot of fun. Of course, we're going to hear from defensive coordinator Brian Ward and some ASU defensive players as well. So make sure you're there. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Drop a 5-star review. In the meantime, guys, give the show a follow at PHNX_Sun Devils. You can follow me at Anthony_Totri. You can follow the man behind the Mac at KCoop Sports. You can follow Long Neck Larry here at Erik
Long
Ruby.
Neck with
That
Larry.
is Erik with a K. But in the meantime, guys, go Devils. In peace.
Y'all see city like the mayor.